And welcome back to episode 2 of College Basketball Talk with your boy Will Dickinson. We have a big episode. We gotta go over all of Monday and Tuesday's notable games, results, talk about them, and then we're gonna look forward to today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll try to get one on Saturday to you guys because we had a lot of good matchups coming this weekend, of course. But also over the last 2 days. There's been a lot of good games. Couple unbeatens going down, 2 unbeatens fallen. So there's now, I think, 10 left, if I am not mistaken. So yeah, big results. Let's start on Monday, where Gonzaga beat Kent State. Let's talk about it because I think I called this one. I think I was right about this one on Monday. Throwback to Monday, I said that that Gonzaga was in a little bit of an upset alert. I said that this Kent State team, played Houston really well. This Gonzaga is struggling. It's at Gonzaga. And I said Gonzaga was going to win, and I told you Kent State was going to cover. Now, if you listened to my advice, you would have made some money because Kent State ended up making it a close game. They ended up losing by 7 points. It was really close. Kent State made it really close in the second half. I think it was tied at that point with a couple minutes, with like 6 minutes left. Maybe Gonzaga was up one or two. But no, Drew Timme came out there and had a monster performance. It's kind of what a National Player of the Year candidate like him is going to do. Put 29 points, 11 for 16 from the field. Strother added 14. Gonzaga, though, this needs their guards to step up for his team to be a real serious candidate going into March. Noah Hickman, Rasir Bolton, those guys are trying to make steps. Their other transfer also needs to step up from the name. Oh God, I can never remember his name. Yeah, Malachi Smith. He needs to step up the transfer. But Gonzaga's gonna be fine. That was a tough team to play at home. Mark Few was talking about how that was a very tough team and how they really probably shouldn't have scheduled them, not knowing how good Kent State's gonna be. So watch out. Kent State may be one of the better teams in the. Pretty sure they're in the MAC. So watch out for them if they can win their conference tournament. To maybe give an upset later in March, but that's such a long way away. So yes, Gonzaga holds on, but that was really the only notable thing from Monday. I mean, San Diego State did play, but I mean they kind of Troy kept it close, but they ended up with the win. But really nothing else on Monday. But Tuesday is really the busy day in college basketball. Let's start with the Jimmy V Classic. We'll start with the first game from it, and it was a great one. Illinois beats Texas to end their unbeaten streak in overtime. Illinois comes back from down 10 in the second half after being up at halftime, and Texas just really chokes this game away. This is a game that Texas should have won. While holding Terrence Shannon to 0 points in the first half, having a great game from Timmy Allen, who was supposed to be the best player coming into the year. Just an all-around good performance. The bench throws in 33 points off the bench. Like, that's a game Gonzaga. Texas really needs to win. But they really just gave away at the end. Tyrese Hunter misses a one-on-one. They have turnovers, and Epps, the freshman for Illinois, comes out there and is probably the reason they win this game, throwing in 11 off the bench. Matthew Meyer, the transfer from Baylor is what was supposed to be him last year at Baylor. That's what he was last night. 5 for 5 from 3. He didn't miss a shot in the first half. That's what you want Matthew Meyer to be. The guy who's just a great shooter, can create for his own shot. Doesn't have to be the first or second option on this team. They have Terrence Shannon, they have Coleman Hawkins, two really good players. But Matthew Meyer could be another guy there that can really just throw in points and be a key player. Because that's just such a good game. Illinois coming into this year, you weren't concerned about them. You knew they were going to be somewhere up top of the Big Ten, top 5. Who knew some people were higher, some people were lower on them. It was a mystery after losing Kofi Coburn and Trent Frazier. A lot of experience from that team. But adding a guy like Matthew Meyer and Terrence Shannon, those are two big transfers. Sky Clark, the freshman, Epps, the freshman. This team is still getting there. They have 2 losses at Maryland and neutral against Virginia. 2 teams, but coming into last night was undefeated. So No, Illinois is definitely up there. Maybe probably one of the better teams in the Big Ten. Who knows? Could be the best team in the Big Ten. Purdue's still there. Maryland's still there. But no, big game from Illinois. Big win. Texas was looking to go undefeated in the non-con. They probably will finish with one loss. Go into conference play, 12-1, 11-1, and then see where that takes them. But yeah, Texas will be fine. A game to probably kick themselves for not winning, but you still only lost in overtime, so good definitely been worse. And the other game of the Jimmy V Classic was a Duke Iowa game where Duke really just handled business. They got the job done, winning 74-62. Big game from Jeremy Roach, really the leader of this team. The only real experience is Jeremy Roach. Throws in 3 threes, 22 points. The point guard for this Duke team is showed out in the spot they needed to. Flipkowski threw in 10. He's the guy that I like to go through in the post, with Lively really not doing much in the offensive end, only 2 points today. Shot one time. Your number one player in the country shooting one time. That's a little concerning for me. In only 13 minutes starting, when Ryan Young's getting 26 minutes and you're getting 13. Look at Ryan Young and tell me that Derek Lively should not be playing over him. That is ridiculous. But no, Tyrese Proctor, the freshman, they're going to get there. They are going to get there. The team's super young. They still have Jacob Granson, Dariq Whitehead starting to play bigger minutes. This Duke team's going to get there. They're super young. Roach has got to lead them through this streak and try to get Lively, because if Lively can get to that spot where you're supposed to be, or even close to where you're supposed to be, this team's a different story. This is one of the they're already one of the better teams in the weak ACC, but they might be the top of the ACC. And then really just no one for Iowa showed out last night. Chris Murray was kept quiet with only 8 points, and then Fran McCaffrey led them in scoring with Bowen off the bench with 12. But yeah, 2 big wins for Duke over Big Ten teams in the last 2 weeks against Ohio State and now against Iowa. But yeah, Duke is gonna just needs to improve. They're young, but they're gonna get better. Big win from Duke. Iowa, it's a Big Ten, middle of the pack Big Ten team in my opinion. They're gonna be a tournament team, but I don't know how serious they are as contenders in the Big Ten. But I think they will be their March as a middle seed. And then another unbeaten falls, which is the Maryland Terrapins. They lose 59-64 at Wisconsin. This Wisconsin team just gets the job done. You look at them, they're not pretty. This team was not suspected to really do much in the Big Ten this year. Not really supposed to be a tournament team after losing Johnny Davis and Brad Davidson last year. But they get the job done. Chucky Hepburn, the sophomore guard, throws in 13. Stephen Crowd, 12. Tyler Wall, really the heart of this team, 9. Jordan Davis, the brother of Johnny, he's going to get there. I can see his progression already happening. And the freshman off the bench, Connor Sejan, this guy does not have fear. He shoots threes in a high volume. And if they're going in, it's scary. He goes 2 for 5 last night, but this guy has confidence. He has swagger off the bench. This Wisconsin team, who knows how good they'll be. If this team can, get their chemistry right. They're still younger. It's a younger team. They got a team that you won't look at and be scared to go against. But the thing about this Wisconsin team is they just have passion. They got heart, and they're going to fight till the end of the game. And that's what they did against Kansas. That's what they did in the Battle for Atlantis. They fought and almost beat Kansas. So, yeah. And then on the Maryland side, just wasn't their game. They really couldn't really get anything to fall in that first half. And then the second half, they just couldn't mount a big enough comeback. Jameer Young, he's short, but this dude can shoot, decide and get to the rim. He's a real star for this Maryland team. This is a tough game to go into. Wisconsin was -1. They were the favorites in this game, and going into Madison, that's just a tough game. They were actually -2. Was Wisconsin. And they ended up covering, getting the win. Just not a big game from Donza Scott. Had only 9 points. Reese was in foul trouble most of the game. They didn't shoot great from three besides Jameer Young, and the bench they didn't get much production from the bench. But Maryland, they still got 2 tough games coming up. They got UCLA and Tennessee. You gotta win at least one. You do not want to go 0-3 in that stretch. People might say you're a pretender. You gotta at least get at least one. If you go 1-2 in that stretch, that's a quality win. That's a great win. That's a quad 1 win for Maryland. If they can, get that done, it'll really just show. All right. So those were the big games on Tuesday. But let's talk about some other notable results. And let's talk about Virginia. My Virginia Cavaliers playing in a close one against James Madison. The last 2 games for Virginia just haven't been the prettiest. Lost the second half. They only scored 55 points. But their defense is still great. And I think really the key watching this game was no Reese Beekman out there. He tweaks his hamstring in the first couple minutes of the game, and doesn't play for the rest. He's on the bench supporting his team, but Tony Bennett didn't feel like it was right for him to put back in there in the game. That they won, where it got close, but I don't know if it was ever in doubt that Virginia was going to win this game. Big game from Kihei Clark. This guy shows up in his 5th year, wasn't expected to come back, does, and is the leader of this team, the soul of this team. This guy is short, but he gets the job done. And Jane Gardner, when we needed a bucket, we would go to him most of the time. We loved the matchup on him. And then Armin Franklin really just didn't play good. And then the freshman Ryan Dunn had a highlight dunk in this game. But also that I just like the way that he brought energy. He looks athletic out there. He looks like a good talent for this team. He's young. He's going to get there. He's going to have to, evolve. He's going to have to progress. But he's only in his first year. A guy that in the end of this year, going into next year, will be a guy that's going to be looked at to be one of the better players in the ACC. And I have confidence that this dude will be a big rotational piece for this Virginia team in the upcoming future. He got 19 minutes because of Beekman just tweaking the hammy. I don't think it's anything serious. I think he should be back for the Houston game because they don't play until the 17th of December. So not this Saturday, but the upcoming Saturday, they have the biggest game of the year, home against Houston. That game is going to be must watch, must talk about. Don't miss that game because it's probably going to be 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3 in the rankings. 1 versus 2. It's going to be 1 versus 2 because Texas lost. So it will be 1 versus 2 unless one of those teams, unless Houston loses to Alabama on Saturday. And then, James Madison, this team was one of the better teams in the Sun Belt. They beat Virginia last year. This year, they just couldn't get the job done, but great fight. This team is going to be dangerous in the Sun Belt up there with Southern Miss. But you can't really – it's hard to talk about these smaller schools when only one team from that conference is going to get in. But you could see them in March for sure. And then Nick Smith has his breakout game at Arkansas, a game where Arkansas is down by 5 at half. This team sometimes plays down their competition, but the breakout game from Nick Smith, 22 points, looked like the guy that people thought he was going to be going into college. Could be a top 5 pick in this draft. Such an explosive guard. Can do really everything out there on the court from the 2 or the 1. When they have Anthony Black, he plays the 1 or the 2. But big game for Nick Smith. Struggles from 3, but he gets to the line. He's so athletic. That's what you kind of want to see from your younger players. Try to get to the line, be aggressive. And definitely by SEC play, Anthony Black and Nick Smith might be the best backcourt in the country. Another major fight there was St. Louis versus Iona. Iona takes him down. I mean, Rick Pitino's squad fights. They had a 13-point lead in half, and they came out there and just beat him again in the second half. Not even a close win. Not even a close game for St. Louis, who was favored by 1 point in that game. Big game for Iona. This team is in the MAC, I think, the MAAC, where Shapinos was last year. This team is probably the favorite in that conference. Watched them come out here and be a team in March that could pull off an upset, because when Rick Pitino is coaching your squad, it's gonna be scary to go against. I would not want to face a Rick Pitino squad in the first round of a tournament, that's for sure. And Yurley Collins, their star player, only puts up 4 assists when he's averaging like over 10. So good D there by Iona. And yeah, that's really it on the big games. Oklahoma State also took down Sam Houston State, who was ranked 7th in the first ever net rankings for the week. So for the year, I'm sorry. First net rankings of the year came out and they were ranked 7th. But yeah, tough loss there, and we'll see going in a few weeks if this Oklahoma State team can bounce back from not being able to play in the tournament last year, see if they could be a contender in the Big 12. Yeah. All right. So after this quick little break, for me, not for you guys, but for me, we're gonna be looking back to the next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday games before Saturday. So quick break for me. Okay, so going into today, Wednesday, December 7th, there's really only 2 games to note. Kind of a weak Wednesday after a great Tuesday slate. First game is Michigan State at Penn State. This game should be a good one. Of course, we got Michigan State, who's struggled in their last couple games. They've taken down some big teams, but they've also have struggled against games. I mean, Pickett for Penn State is really the star player, averaging 16 this year. Tyrese Walker, Joey Hauser, AJ Hoggard, they've been good, but this Michigan State team is just injured. They have a lot of banged up players. No Malik Hurts. Penn State's 4-point favorites at home. Michigan State's going to keep it close. I could see him pulling it out at the end. This team is just hurt and injured. But dropping to 500 would suck after such a promising start to the year. Losing to Gonzaga, beating Kentucky. This team is just injured right now. I want to see him get back to full strength, because right now it's just tough to see this team struggle a little bit, but they'll get back. And the other one is Dayton, who came into this year expecting big things. This team coming in the year was ranked, but now they're only 5-4. They're going to Virginia Tech, who just beat UNC. That's a big game for Virginia Tech. This team is just good. Justin Mutz, Perdula, Couture. This team is similar from last year. I think they deserve a ranking in the next if they can win this game. That's 2 good wins against Carolina, against Dayton. This team will probably be ranked if they can win this game this week. But that's really it for Wednesday. Wednesday's kind of a weekday. Thursday, we got 2 more good games, which is a Rutgers at Ohio State. This game's going to be a tough one. Ohio State coming off a loss to Duke. This team is still trying to adjust because they got a lot of transfers coming in after losing Malachi Branham and EJ Liddell. And, there was 2 of their best players. And then they've lost a lot. And the Coach Holcomb has really improved this team to, come back and just get back to where they're used to being, because Ohio State's always in the mix. Rutgers coming off a big win, taking down, who do they take down? Gosh, see, this is the struggles. I'm trying to remember all these things. They just took down freaking Illinois. I knew that. God. Rutgers took down Illinois. Now they're going at Ohio State. This is a game that Rutgers usually loses. We'll see if this team is different, but usually they come off a big win and they're let down on the road. But we'll see. I think Ohio State's going to win this game because this is a game that Rutgers usually loses. And the other game is Iowa State, who played really good in the PK. They took down UNC, ended up losing in the championship game there. But they're playing at Iowa, a little in-state rivalry going down. Iowa coming off the loss to Duke. They're playing in 2 days rest, coming back from New York. They're 6.5-point favorites, which I think is a little high, coming off 1 day rest, probably on the plane. I'm gonna pick the Iowa State upset there. I love Caleb Groh. He shoots that ball confidently. Gabe Kalsher I really like. So I'm gonna go with Iowa State over Iowa. I didn't like what I saw from Iowa in that Duke game. I knew Duke's a good team, but they just didn't show me much there. And then there's only one real good game on Friday, and it's Washington at Gonzaga. I know Washington is not that good this year, but Gonzaga's at least getting a little test at home again. They should win this game, but Gonzaga just trying to get another win in the non-con. Because they gotta build the resume. We'll see if Timmy can have another dominant performance there, but it is kind of weak just going into the weekend where there's a lot of good games that we'll talk about on the next episode, and we'll talk about if there is some crazy upsets again. We're going to talk about it. But that's really all I got. Just a little review of Monday and Tuesday games, looking into the next 3 days. I'm going to have an episode on Saturday. I'll try to get it out early before tip-offs at 12 o'clock. Because let's see, on Saturday, I'll just tell you the best tip-off. There's not a good Penn State plays Illinois at 12. If Penn State beats Michigan State, that'll be a good game to watch on Big Ten Network. And then Arkansas, Oklahoma at 1. But the better games are starting a little later. There's some ACC matchups. There's a San Diego State St. Mary's game at 2, which that could be a really good game in Phoenix, neutral court game that St. Mary's is trying to build a resume because they've struggled of recent. So yeah, there's some good games on Saturday, but for now, that's really it. Shout out to Virginia for keep getting the job done, undefeated in men's and women's basketball. No other school's doing that right now, but we'll see if anything happens on this crazy college basketball slate. We're gonna try to get more content out, not just reviews and previews. We're gonna try to get out, some personal rankings. Maybe every Monday I'll do a personal rankings video, or I'll do player the one that gets late in the season, the Wooden Award watch, or All American or All Star teams. We're gonna try to do new things. But yeah, I love college basketball. Keep talking about it. Let's hope for some upsets. Maybe Gonzaga falls. Maybe Michigan State looks good against Penn State. But for now, that's all I got. I appreciate for watching. And peace out.